So over the last weekend when this video is uploaded, I played the Modern Warfare 2 open beta, and I gotta be honest, I had some fun. However, this video is about why Modern Warfare 2 has already failed, and I gotta say, I'm pretty disappointed in Infinity Ward with how the beta was laid out and how the gameplay ended up being. So in today's video, I'm gonna be talking about the top 10 reasons why MW2 has already failed to live up to the hype and failed to meet expectations. But before we get into the top 10 reasons, I just gotta say that you guys have been killing it with the support recently, so thank you if you're brand new around here or if you've been watching since the start. You guys will probably never understand how much it means to me, and for that I am so grateful. I hope you guys stick around and enjoy the content that comes from this channel. Speaking of new content, if this is your first time seeing me on your screen and you enjoyed this video, how about subscribe? More than 90% of you guys that watch my videos aren't actually subscribed, so if you find yourself coming back to this channel or enjoy the content I make, subscribe. It's free and you get more of what you like. Anyways, now that I've sold out, let's go ahead and get back to the video. First up on our top 10 is the visual recoil for guns. Now, I get it if COD wants to try and make the guns feel more realistic or make them more impactful to shoot. However, Modern Warfare 2 doesn't really achieve either of these things. The guns, to me anyway, don't really sound as visceral as maybe Modern Warfare 2019 or cartoony like Advanced Warfare. They kind of fall in between, which is okay, not really a problem. The real problem that I have is the guns having realistic recoil. It just doesn't work for a COD game, I'm sorry. If we really wanted to have a realistic recoil, every gun in the game is going to end up as a burst rifle. That's just how real life works. When you shoot a gun, you're shooting it in a controlled, usual 3-round burst unless you really just want to make that thing sing. Modern Warfare 2 does something in the middle, and when it does happen, sometimes it feels like no recoil, and the other times I just can't tell what I'm even shooting at. This is bad for many reasons. COD is not a military shooter or a super competitive game like Valorant or Battlefield, and even in Battlefield, the guns don't get in your way of seeing your target. In Modern Warfare 2, however, most of the time you're spraying and just lose track of where people went because of the gun smoke, the gun jumping around, and the other chaos that is going on beside you. All beta, I was praying for a red dot sight so I can actually see what I'm shooting at, and it's never a good thing when you feel like you have to run a certain attachment or a certain perk, otherwise you just lose, and I will be coming back to this idea in a bit. For right now and how the guns feel, it's just kind of like a coin toss. Sometimes it's good and nothing goes wrong, other times you just lose because you can't see them when you're shooting or the TTK is off, which is going into my next reason. Now, reason 2 is the weird TTK that is in the game. Now, this will probably be fixed by the time the full game comes out, however, I have to talk about it. Sometimes in the beta, you can feel like you're just absolutely melting kids in 3 to 4 shots. Now, for me personally, that's a good TTK. I don't really need it to be faster or slower, but the beta had this weird issue where if you went up against somebody with a better ping or internet connection, you were more than likely just gonna lose that gunfight because his bullets will register faster than yours will. Now, COD has had this issue in the past, but for the most part had it solved by the time Black Ops 1 came out, so I don't know why it's returning here unless they really just want to give us that nostalgic feel, but let's be honest, they're not, so it should have no place here, especially when you have dedicated servers everyone is playing on and not some local host every time you join a lobby. Like I said, they probably will fix that when the game comes out, but I had to at least mention it because it was so jarring sometimes when you go from melting 2 people to all of a sudden landing 6 bullets on someone and they just don't die. It was very weird. Moving on to our next reason, the footsteps are too loud in Infinity Ward. They say it was way better in the second weekend for PC and Xbox players, and I can't really compare it because I don't play on PlayStation anymore, but I heard that it was pretty much the same and that they still need to turn them down. Once again, they can't figure out which they want, super tactical and hear everything, or more of an arcade style and just run around and shoot. Between having kill streaks go off and announcers saying stuff, sometimes the footsteps are too quiet and you can't hear people, or other times where you feel like you have super hearing or something because you can hear exactly when people are moving around and where they are going to be. Infinity Ward, pick one. This goes back to what I was saying earlier about having to run certain things, otherwise you're just going to lose because they hear you coming and are pre-aimed on exactly where you're going to be coming from. It just creates this sort of campy style gameplay because you can't flank and get behind people before they hear you, or they hear you coming so they just wait until you show up. If you're a camper and play like that, then I don't know what to tell you. It's not fun for anyone else other than you, and it shouldn't be something I have to constantly worry about. A good system is where you know when to push and when to get behind through openings that you created because you outsmarted the enemy. Just sitting there and waiting for people to come up to you is never going to be a good playing style. Now, reason 4 is kind of a preference thing, but to me, the UI and the created class is kind of a mess. The gunsmith is super confusing until you figure it out, and they don't really explain how they've changed it, and maybe that's on me because I didn't pay attention to the news articles or events that showcase this sort of stuff, but you can't really expect people to be watching that stuff 24/7 to figure out how to play the game or get the things they want. Like I was saying earlier, I was praying for a red dot sight, usually one of the first things you get in a COD game, and I didn't get one until I was max level on the beta, and the max was level 30. Like, it shouldn't take that long to get a simple red dot sight, and I kept seeing the UI say that I got a new sight, but every time I went to go check it, it just wasn't there until it magically appeared in the gunsmith and I put it on. Also, another thing that was super confusing was the receivers, as they call them. Basically, you get different types of the same gun in order to make other guns. So for example, let's say you want the MP5 SMG, only in this game it's called the Lockman. So let's say you want the Lockman SMG. First, you have to level up the Lockman battle rifle version until you get the AR receiver, which, by the way, the battle rifles were so bad, it's just pure pain. You'll get beaten out by everything else in the game. Next, you have to level up the AR version in order to get the SMG receiver, and then you can have the SMG you want and can level it up from there. Some attachments do carry over, but it's not as much as you may think. Each receiver has attachments that can and can't go on the guns, so let's say there's a barrel attachment you really like on the AR and want it on the SMG build. Can't do it. Level up the SMG and then you can get whatever barrels that come with the SMG. And that's how most of the guns worked, instead of having like a traditional level system where you get this gun and these things when you hit this level. So I would say instead of a majority of your time going into leveling up the guns that you want the most, you're gonna be leveling up one gun all the way until you get the version you want, and then you get to level that up. I don't know how Infinity Ward thinks this is a better system than Modern Warfare 2019. In game, you just don't get that information. Not even when you hover over the gun version that you want. You could like at least put a message to say like Lockman AR must be level 16 to unlock the Lockman SMG or something like that. I'm just saying it's a little too confusing. Like put a little message there for, you know, just convenience wise. It took me like, I would say, an hour of gameplay to figure this out and how it goes instead of the other system, and I could get the guns that were actually good. Also, with the creative class, they've added this new system where your perks level up as the game goes on. So you start the game with 2 perks being your first 2, and then you get your 3rd, and then you get your 4th. Now, as of me writing this script, I don't really know what causes it to level up, but so far, I don't really like it. It causes this weird start to the games where no one is really moving and everyone is trying to get that UAV before the other team gets it and before everyone else on the map gets ghost, and it was weird. It's pretty much just another reason for people to camp and not move around as long as you don't have a UAV up, and that also spills into my next point. So for this reason, I cannot understand why Infinity Ward just wants to fix something that isn't broken. That reason being no OG minimap. Now, what I mean by this, and I know it's gonna sound crazy, but back in the day, if you didn't have a suppressor on your gun and you shot, a little red dot would pop up on the minimap for the other team on where you were, and that was the trade-off for not having a suppressor. You get more damage, but you show up on the minimap, and everyone understood this. In Modern Warfare 2, they've gone back to this stupid compass at the top of your screen, which you don't really notice until you finally look up at it, and the red dot pops up there. The problem with this is, 1, it just didn't really need to be fixed, so why did you change it? And 2, you can't really tell how far away they are from you. They could be right next to you, they could be across the map. You just can't really tell until you get a UAV. Now, for these next reasons, I gotta admit they are a little nitpicky and can probably be solved once you get used to the game or when the full game comes out because they fixed it, but it still becomes an issue that I want to address. So for number 6, they have some weird visibility going on in the game. Now, what I mean by this is when you look into a building and you're outside, it's extremely dark and you just can't see until you go into buildings. Now, that works for Warzone, I guess, but multiplayer, it just doesn't when I have somebody literally sitting on the window waiting for me to peek and I just can't see them because it's literally just pitch black all around the window until I walk into the building. Also, like the screen shake and stuff, just stop. I'm a huge proponent of this. Like, can we just get rid of screen shake? shakes in games, in movies. Just get rid of screen shake. Another thing with visibility is the smoke and stuff kind of glitched out and made it hard to see, but I'm sure they'll fix that when the full game comes out. It just kind of made things kind of hard to see, especially when you called in like an airstrike or something and the dust kicked up from the map. Like, I don't know, it was very weird. Reason number 7 is don't say you fixed movement when you didn't. There's still slide canceling and drop shotting and everything. They may try and fix it, but at the end of the day, people are going to try and do it anyway, so just don't say you fixed it when you didn't. That's all I gotta say about that. If you want to slide cancel, go ahead and do it, but if you don't want it in the game, don't put it in the game. Like, I don't see what's the issue here. Don't lie to us, Infinity Ward. Reason 8 is the gunplay was a little overbalanced, with the ARs and SMGs being the best and everything else kind of took a back seat, unless you really wanted to go out of your way to play with those guns like snipers and stuff like that. And reason number 9, now this is super nitpicky and I wouldn't say it's really why the game fails, but the new game modes didn't really catch my attention. They all just kind of felt like search and destroy, but with vibes. I don't know, it's not my style. I just expected something more, I guess you could say, but if they're your style, then hey, congratulations, you guys got some new game modes to play with this year. I don't know. Now for the final reason, I have been beating this like a dead horse, but honestly, if you're a fan of any older COD and remember back in the day in 2012 and in 2009, you know, whatever you want to do, all the way up until I think it was Call of Duty World War II, I think. Don't quote me on that because I'm not quite sure, but skill-based matchmaking. I still hate this system, and all it does is cause players to tilt and eventually just stop trying unless you really want to prove that you are the best. But isn't that sort of stuff supposed to be for like the ranked gameplay or whatever COD wants to call it? And I heard that Modern Warfare 2 is going to have a ranked game mode, so why is skill-based matchmaking in the public matches where it's supposed to be casual? I can actually tell you why, and that's because COD wants to make that money, son. Lil Timmy, who's 7 years old and can barely hold a controller, is not going to buy any bundles with his mommy's credit card if he's not having fun on the game. So we put him with the other bad players so he can have a chance to have fun and maybe, just maybe, buy that new anime bundle that comes in the shop. Also, it's not really as one-sided as you think. This mentality applies to the older fans of COD. Yes, I am calling out the boomers. You guys want it to be as realistic as possible because you don't really look into gaming that much, and COD to you guys is apparently the only military game that is out there. Battlefield? Never heard of it. Arma 3? Never heard of it. There are tons of games that are realistic military shooters, but clearly don't have the marketing that COD does, so you never do any research on your own, and thus you've never heard of these games. Also, I just wanted to address some of the comments that I got on my TikTok that I made for this video. It was kind of like a teaser thing, and I just kind of put my top 5 reasons why Call of Duty had already failed, and I just wanted to address some of these comments because in the TikTok video, I don't really go too in depth. Like I said, I was kind of just using it as like a teaser video, if you will, but I just want to address a couple of these comments. So number 1, we have footsteps are too loud. Like, that's the point. People with all that gear plus headphones will be loud. You're right. If this was a super realistic military simulator game, however, it's not. It's Call of Duty. It's supposed to be fun. You're supposed to run around and just shoot people and get kill streaks, and that's how you have fun. If you destroy the enemy team, you destroy the enemy team. If you don't, you don't. You go next. Like, I don't know why we try and make these COD games as realistic as possible when that's not the purpose of COD. And also, I try to reply to as many comments as I possibly can on TikTok, on YouTube, on whatever. So I got into a little bit of a spat with this guy, and I was explaining to him my viewpoint, and I was explaining to him that it just doesn't really feel like COD's position to make it realistic. And he replied with, I don't know, everyone asked for realism in every other COD that was released recently, but when you get it, you complain. Deal with it. Me personally, I was never asking for realism, and I think some people that are in the COD community confused realism with a modern system. Let's look at the facts. We've had a bunch of futuristic COD games, not including Modern Warfare 2019. We've had a bunch of historic video games like Call of Duty Cold War, World War II, Vanguard, you know, Advanced Warfare, Infinity, and what was it called? Infinite Warfare, there we go, Advanced Warfare, so on and so forth. And I think people lost sight of what was truly what we were asking for. Me personally, I never want COD to be realistic, as people put it. I want it to be a fun arcade game that I can hop on with my friends and maybe even play solo if I really feel like it, and just play the game. I don't have to think that hard, you know? Whereas I have my competitive games like Valorant, CS:GO, Rainbow, Apex, you know, I have those competitive games where I want to go in it and absolutely sweat my balls off until I get the dub or, you know, rank up or whatever it is. In Call of Duty, I just want to get in here, shoot some people, get some kill streaks, dominate the lobby, and that's my fun. There was another comment that I wanted to talk about, because I don't want people to get the wrong idea about what I think about receivers. And this guy commented, receivers are hard, don't ever play Escape from Tarkov. And I replied with, trust me, I won't, because trust me, I won't. Escape from Tarkov is a completely different game, and respect to all those players that play it, because I just couldn't, man. It's too much. It's too realistic for me. It's not a video game. I'm looking for video games that I can have fun on and not have to, you know, stress about it or, you know, stuff like that. And I also wasn't saying that the receivers are bad. I'm saying that it was confusing with how they presented it. Like I said, all they need to do is just add a little tiny message when you hover over a gun variant that you want or something like that. Maybe they only did it because it was in the beta, but, you know, when I'm going through the SMGs and the ARs and I see Lockman AR and then I see Lockman SMG, I'm expecting those two to be like different levels, and that you'll get them at, let's say Lockman AR is at level 15, you get that at level 15, Lockman SMG, you get it at level 20. That's what I was expecting. Like I said, maybe that's on me because I wasn't paying attention to all the news articles and events that they did in order to explain their whole game and whatnot. So that has been my top 10 reasons why Modern Warfare 2 has already failed in my eyes. I said this in my last video, but I really wanted this game to be as good as possible because at the end of the day, I love Call of Duty, whichever direction they take it in. Modern Warfare 2 isn't all terrible, especially when compared to Cold War and Vanguard, but Call of Duty is honestly still missing that magic that made the Modern Warfare 2 so special, and why Black Ops 2 was so good. At the end of the day, COD isn't going to be going back to its roots anytime soon, and for that, I am hesitant to buy Modern Warfare 2. If there is really anything you can take away from this video, it's to really look into games that you are buying and if it's worth spending that money on the game. For me, Valorant is still way better than Call of Duty right now, and I won't be switching back to COD for my main game, and this might be the last video that I make on Modern Warfare 2. Either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video if you made it this far. If you did, make sure to click that like button and subscribe for more content down below. Yeah, that's been my thoughts on Modern Warfare 2. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much been it. I've been Foamyy, you guys have been awesome, and I'm out. Peace.